My dear friends, today we celebrate the 15th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The readings invite us to reflect on God who is close to us. He lives in our midst through His Word and shows up every day in our neighbors. The readings take us through the history of the Judeo-Christian people. The first reading from the book of Deuteronomy is Moses' final address to the Israelites as they approach the promised land. Thus Moses reassured them of the fulfillment of God's promise in the present time and in the future. He added that this God was not some abstract deity, but a personal God whose presence is found everywhere. Moses further emphasized that God's commandment was not too hard to be obeyed. Rather, it was near, in the mouth of anyone who spoke God's word and who desired God, because God is with His people always. The parable of the Good Samaritan, which Jesus tells in the Gospel reading from Luke chapter 10, is primarily about God's closeness to us in every situation and His invitation to us to concretely see His presence in all people. In the parable, Jesus stressed that God's love has no limits, and likewise our love for our neighbors. It must not be limited. However, since Jesus' story is a parable, let us go beyond the conventional interpretation. Imagine that you're a person traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho. Imagine that you are attacked by some robbers who took all your belongings and tortured you mercilessly and left you half dead. You are still conscious and hope that someone might come on and find you soon before something worse happens. Imagine all the cars pass by you and no one dared to stop. Everyone is in a haste to catch up with something very important. All of a sudden, you notice the mayor of the city and the pastor of the city parish, whom you thought are charged with looking after the people of the city, but they pass by you. But while you are beginning to lose hope, you saw a woman dressed in hijab. Sure, she's a Muslim, but she stops by, showed love as though you were her sister or brother. She sends you to the hospital, and she said the bill is on her. Now, when you fully recover, what would be your reaction? My dear friends, how many times have we been disappointed by those we thought should have been there for us? How many times have assistance come to us from unexpected sources and people? How many times have you been surprised by life? Jesus told the story of the Good Samaritan to illustrate that if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. If our expectations were always met, then life would be a bed of roses. People don't necessarily assist others because of their relationship with them or their common affiliation or to a particular church. Rather, people assist others because they recognize God who is present in other people and who is closer to our world than we ever imagined. Let me say this. There is no authentic love of others that does not originate from the love of God. As a priest, I receive a lot of favors and privileges from people, perhaps because it is easy to see in the priest the image of God that we can see in the ordinary people around us. What vanishes God from the ordinary people? Why is God more present in some people than others? Did you know that whenever people recognize in themselves the life, favors, and privileges that come to them from God as unmerited, they strive to share that life to others? On the contrary, whenever people see their life as a right due to their righteousness, the more they are unable to share that life with others. If God's love comes to us unmerited and we recognize it, it enables us to see life from a different perspective. In other words, those who experience or are surprised by God's grace are often moved to become helpers, servers, and loving towards others. The difference between the Good Samaritan and the priest or the Levite who passed by the man victim is the ability of the Samaritan to move from a focus on himself and striving for perfection to a life motivated by gratitude and a desire to share that grace with others through acts of love and service. Now, the path of life and the life of grace is accessible to all. I repeat, the path of life and the life of grace is accessible to all. While some presume that they can walk that path by belonging to a class or institution or a church, others believe they can find it allowing the transformative power of grace to change their view of themselves, such that they become vessels of grace, extending patience, understanding, and forgiveness to those around them. Whenever people are transformed by grace, they share a profound connection with Christ, such that their acts of love and service flow from that connection. For St. Paul, as he expressed in our second reading from Colossians chapter 1, Christ is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might be preeminent. He is the one through whom God brought everything into existence, and he is the face of God's grace, love, and sacrifice. My dear friends, imagine that God's mercy and love has embraced in your personality, and his justice and peace find home in you. God is not asking you for too much. Rather, he enjoys you today to love him with all your heart, with all your being, with all your strength, with all your mind. And this love must be expressed in the love of neighbor as of yourself. What good have you done or can do this week that would express the love of God and neighbor? Tick says the clock, tick tock. What you have to do, do quick. God bless you.